Hi, Tanya here. It's episode 17. Thank you for watching and welcome back to What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Hi, and welcome back to What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow this channel before I get into it. If you have been watching the past previous episodes, especially last week's episode, you remember that I promised that this week we'll be dwelling more on the good news rather than the bad news. But we need to cover all the important stories. So I just have one bad news story, and I always much prefer starting with the bad news, ending with the happy news. So let's get right into it with, unfortunately, 11 deaths have been recorded in South Africa after heavy rains and floods in the Western Cape. Severe weather in South Africa's Western Cape province, including Cape Town, over the weekend has claimed the lives of at least 11 people. The destructive rains and winds triggered extensive flooding, roof damage, crop loss, and infrastructure destruction. Rescue teams are tirelessly searching for potential survivors' submerged homes. Tragically, 8 of the fatalities resulted from electrocution in an informal settlement due to water swamping illegal power connections. Over 80 roads are closed, 15,000 homes are without power, and farm workers remain stranded due to the flooding. The region's farmed vineyards are also suffering, with a significant impact on the harvests expected. City of Cape Town Mayor Gordon Hill Lewis has declared a major incident, urging additional resources and relief efforts. Climate change is cited as a factor in South Africa's recent extreme weather events. It's quite sad, the news that is coming out of South Africa, and we hope that everyone is able to bounce back and that the people who have lost friends and family can mourn and the family members can rest in peace. During this time, I would like to urge you to remember that this is because of extreme climate change that these weather events are happening, and that we can make a difference one step at a time. With that in mind, I am not worried and too concerned because the South African government is taking a hold of the situation and help is coming in from all across the country. We thank all those people who are putting in the extra effort to help those victims affected by the flooding and the rains in the Western Cape. Moving on to the good news, we are celebrating the Afcon announcement of where the next matches are going to be held. I hope I'm saying that right. But the next match for 2025 will be in Morocco. The president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Patrice Motsepe, has announced that Morocco will host the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, marking the country's second time hosting the tournament, with the first being in 1988. Algeria, Zambia, and a joint Benin-Nigeria bid withdrew their candidacy, leaving Morocco as the sole candidate. This decision aligns with Morocco's goal to potentially host the World Cup in 2030 as part of a joint bid with Spain and Portugal. Afcon 2027 has been awarded to a joint bid for Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, taking the event to East Africa for the first time since 1976. The next edition, Afcon 2023, will be held in Ivory Coast beginning on January 13, 2024. Despite some challenges, Morocco's world-class stadiums and experience in hosting major football tournaments were key in their selection. We look forward to the Afcon Cup and are excited for all the other countries that will be hosting in the other following years to come. With that in mind, I would like to take us a little bit further north to Libya, where unfortunately, or actually fortunately, the devastating floods from the last week have actually revealed a new heritage site. Devastating floods in Libya have unearthed hidden structures at an ancient Greek city near Derma. Authorities inspected the site after the floods receded, discovering new archaeological sites. Dr. Ahmed Isa from Omar Al-Maktar University's Department of Archaeology suggests forming a national committee of experts to classify these discoveries and plan restoration. Anis Hamid of the Shahad Antiquities Control Department noted flood damage to archaeological walls and sought help from local authorities and UNESCO. Cyrene, founded by Greeks in 1631 BC, thrived in the 4th century BC, boasting Greek baths, the Temple of Zeus, the Temple of Apollo, and other temples. I personally will admit I didn't even know that these temples were in Africa, let alone in Libya. But we are looking at the bright side today. So we're happy to know that more discoveries, more historical discoveries are being made in Africa, and hope that all of these are handled with care and under the hands of Africans. We know the history of other countries taking our historical marks. With that, we're going to move to the next story. Still in North Africa, South Sudan has hosted an event with the UN encouraging peace for the upcoming elections in December. Over 500 people gathered in Freedom Square, Terekeka country, South Sudan, to recommit to peace ahead of the December 2024 election. The event, a collaboration between the UN mission in South Sudan, the Africa Theological Leadership School, and the Central Equatorial State Ministry of Peacebuilding, emphasized the importance of unity in building a peaceful and prosperous nation. The Director General of the state's Ministry of Peacebuilding, Lawrence Musoke Samuel, highlighted the role of families in fostering peace. The event also emphasized the pivotal role of women in peacebuilding. UN Miss used the occasion to remind attendees of its mandate, focusing on preventing a return to civil war, promoting lasting peace, and supporting accountable governance. South Sudan, which faced a devastating civil war from 2013 to 2018, has since been striving for stability through peace agreements. Overall, exciting news coming from the country, South Sudan, and we hope that the elections are very peaceful and that everyone in the nation gets to vote peacefully and amicably. Moving further down to South Africa, the Comic-Con Africa event is well in preparation, and the citizens of South Africa and as well as the rest of the continent are excited for what is coming this year. Comic-Con Africa is drawing fans, cosplayers, gamers, and pop culture enthusiasts to a vast expo center of Johannesburg. The event, in its 4th edition, is expected to set attendance records. The festival features an Afro Geek pavilion showcasing comics with African heritage themes. The lineup is exciting, the costumes are ready, and we already have a few glimpses of the celebrities and the people who will be attending at the Comic-Con this year, which will be starting in a few weeks' time. I actually thought it had already happened. I guess I am behind in that regard, but we are excited to see what's going to come, and I promise you, I will have news, clips, and updates from that Comic-Con event that will be happening in a few weeks' time. And finally, still in entertainment, I'm going to end with the movie Black Book, which has been released on Netflix, which is already breaking records and rising in popularity. The Black Book has achieved record-breaking success on Netflix, becoming the streaming platform's biggest ever Nigerian film, according to its director, Editi Effiong. The action movie, available on Netflix since last Friday, tells the story of a deacon seeking justice after his son is wrongly accused of kidnapping. Effiong shared the news on the social media platform X, stating that the film has become a global hit and the most significant Nigerian film on Netflix. Within 2 days of its release, The Black Book generated 5.6 million views and ranked as the 4th most watched film of the week. Netflix has been expanding its collection of African-made content in the recent years, including popular titles like South Africa's Blood and Water and the Pan-African reality TV Young, Famous and African. For those who have Netflix, you have probably seen the updates, and I recommend you going to the African section because there are a lot of uploaded movies from different African countries that are interesting, as well as the series. And I encourage you to go and support local talent. Thank you once again for watching What's Happening Africa with Tanya. A little bit shorter today, but really putting the emphasis on the good news because it is not all bad in reality. There are downsides and there are real tough things happening to people in Africa, but it is important to lift each other up and talk about the good news once in a while. If I missed out anything, if you have any questions or you have anything else you'd like to add, please do not hesitate to comment below or message me on all the other social media platforms. Have a lovely day and thank you once again. Goodbye.